since there was a condition on the quantity, so on the quantity, either you can use simple if and else condition, that is if quantity is less than 0, assign 0 to quantity, or otherwise you assign the passed value, the quantity value. And this dot unit price, बेसिकली जो दो कंडीशन आपको देखी थी, नेगेटिव वैल्यू नहीं होना चाहिए, क्वांटिटी नेगेटिव नहीं हो सकती और प्राइस नेगेटिव नहीं हो सकती, तो you can provide just basic checks here, and for each instance variable you provide the set methods and get methods. So basically set part number, set description, set quantity, and set unit price. And again, if you have, if you are going to set the quantity, you should check the negative values. That it should not be set. Similarly, you have getter methods. Get methods, it just basically just return the value. Why we are doing so? Because outside this class, that is in, whether it is a main class or other any other class, if you want to access the data members, you should not directly access the data members. Instead of, you can use the methods provided in this class, using the methods like get or set methods to access the private data members. So usually you give the get and set method as a public, and data members you define as a private. And then get invoice amount is basically it returns the get quantity and get unit price. So particular object for a particular object, it will like this dot get quantity multiply by the this dot get unit price. So the test application, that is invoice test, why we are calling it test application or the client side application, that all the objects or the behavior of this class is actually tested in this main class. Assuming it as a software, there is an interface on the client side, and it is entering some value, or whenever it is clicking a button, let's say submit or create invoice, is basically calling a constructor, and it is creating an object. So this is an object, you are giving some values, testing values, and you are printing the invoice was just by getting the part number. You are actually sending these values inside a function, a static function. It is defined in the invoice test. So either you can use directly system.out.println and you can print spanner dot get part number plus spanner dot get description, and you can create another object to show whether it is taking negative values or not. And the usual behavior of the invoice class you are showing in the invoice test class. Some of the things so need to mention, like one is keep your test class or the application class as minimum as possible. So basically the functionality that you provide, it should be minimum. So there should not or the, for example, just to give an example कि आप यहाँ यूजर से इनपुट ले रहे हो, फिर उसके बाद उसको पास कर रहे हो ऑब्जेक्ट्स में, you can directly call the constructor and you can give the object. So think it like a software where you are just clicking. Now इसमें अभी भी इसमें एक प्रॉब्लम है. So कोई मुझे बताएगा कि क्या इसमें थोड़ा सा हम इसको और सही कर सकते थे, इम्प्रूव कर सकते थे इसमें. Okay, so कुछ क्वेश्चन. अच्छा, What is the use of trim? नितिन, I think मैंने बता दिया. So कि आपको लीडिंग और ट्रेलिंग स्पेस को हटाना हो तो उसके लिए ट्रिम का यूज करते हैं. अच्छा, मैं वापस उस स्लाइड पे जाता हूँ. ये स्लाइड नहीं दिख रही है आपको? वर्जन वाली, ये प्रोग्राम वाली नहीं दिख रही है क्या? ये है. ओके, ठीक है. तो मैंने जो अभी एग्जांपल समझाया इनवॉइस टेस्ट वाला, जिसका कोड दिखाया था मैंने, वो दिखा था आपको? ओके, फाइन. सो बेसिकली इस एग्जांपल में still you can improve this code. So this code is fine, you can improve it. So let me just give you a hint कि अभी भी यहाँ पे कोड रिडंडेंसी है. There is still code redundancy is there. You can remove it and you can make it, you can improve it. Yes. One second. Yes, basically, still you are so for quantity and unit price, you are checking the value of quantity, whether it is a negative or positive. And again, you are doing the same thing in the set functions. So what you can do, you can directly call those function inside this constructor, and you can pass this parameters to the set function that you already defined. And why we are having set methods for each instance variable? It is because suppose a part, suppose think from the software perspective, अगर कोई इनवॉइस है, कोई पार्ट है, उसकी प्राइस चेंज हुई ड्यू टू सम लेट्स से इन्फ्लेशन और एनीथिंग, पार्ट की प्राइस चेंज हुई. So instead of changing whole objects, we just change the price property of that object. So that's why it is always good to have a set and get method for each instance variable. Okay, so let's move ahead to another. Okay, so now let's move to another topic. Okay, it is already open here. Okay. Now we'll start inheritance and method over. So basically, method overriding, that is runtime polymorphism. So we have already discussed. So I should skip this part basically. So inheritance is basically we use for the code reusability. So whenever some classes share some properties, we move those properties into upper class, and we create an upper class, and we create specific classes in top down approach. So basically, if you go from top to down, we we're doing a specialization, and when we move from bottom to top, you're doing the generalization. So basically, a superclass that contains the property of these common properties of the subclass. For example, here is a vehicle. Vehicle can be automobile or the pooled vehicle, and in the automobile vehicle, we can have a specific class called car or scooter. So basically, you're going, if you're going top to down, you are moving towards a more specific class, and if you are going from bottom to up, you are showing the generalization basically. The parent class is usually called base class or the parent class, and child class are normally known as derived classes. So this is where one class acquires the property of another is called inheritance, and we normally we do for the uh, to have efficient code reusability basically. So the subclass that inherits the properties of the other class and is also called drive class or the child class, and the class those whose properties are inherited is known as a superclass or the base class or the parent class. And Java, why we use inheritance? So there are two things. That one is for the so basically for method overriding, that is to achieve runtime polymorphism, and the important part is practical important part is code reusability. For we use inheritance. One second. Wait a second. Okay. Sorry. Type of inheritance that are there in Java. One is uh, single, multi-level, hierarchical. Unlike C++, multiple inheritance is not supported in Java. And to write the basic Java syntax to inherit a class, you write class name, subclass name, and you use extend keywords, and you write superclass name. So, and that's how it goes to use inheritance in Java. So all the public property of the superclass is inherited in the subclass by using the extends keyword. So for example, in a single inheritance, let's say we have created a class called employee, and there is a variable instance variable salary, which is 30,000, and an employee, a particular employee type, that is programmer, which extends the employee, and there is another instance variable inside the programmer bonus, and you see salary instance variable is not a private member, so it actually it get inherited here in the programmer class. So it is by default, it's a default, and you can use those instance variable, or if there is any method, you can use this inside the subclasses. So you can create object of programmer class, and you can access the data members and the functions or the methods of the superclass also. One second, let me Okay. Basically, the salary data member or the property of employee class is inherited in the programmer class. And this is the basic actually notation that you use for inheritance in object-oriented design part. So modeling and design that we are going to discuss in the part 2. And methods, all the public methods are also inherited in the subclass. For example, there are two methods, addition and subtraction is mentioned in the class calculation. And in the my calculation class, which extends the calculation, you are providing a method multiplication. So with this method also, these two methods are inherited in this my calculation class, and you can create the object of this my calculation class, and with that object you can call all the methods that are there in this my calculation, as well as all the methods that are inherited from the calculation class. Well, in multi-level inheritance, you a class is extended by another class, and that class is also extended by a lower level subclass. So basically, for example, let's see in this example. So we have a class called car, and the constructor of class car is uh, is printing class car, and there is a function vehicle type, and a particular class Maruti extends the class car, and it is also having a constructor Maruti, and there are two functions, brand and speed is there, and a third class Maruti 800 which extends the Maruti. It is having a constructor and the function speed. See, there are two speed methods that is defined. One is inside the Maruti 800, and one it inherits from the Maruti class. Now, when you're creating an object of subclass, basically what is happening? So it calls the constructor and create an object. But before creating an object of this class, or calling the constructor of this class, all the constructor of the super classes are invoked first. अपमोस्ट जो क्लास होगी उसका कंस्ट्रक्टर सबसे पहले कॉल होगा. So basically, creating an object of a lower level class, all the upper level class objects, all the upper level class should be instantiated. And when we talk about all the upper level class should be instantiated, it's mean that all the constructor from top to bottom will be run in a sequence. So यहाँ पे अगर आप देखोगे, यहाँ पे सिर्फ आपने मारुति 800 का कंस्ट्रक्टर कॉल होगा इस लाइन पर, लाइन नंबर 39. So before executing this constructor, basically all the constructor from the top class will be executed, because this class is extending Maruti class. So Maruti class itself is extending car class. So सबसे पहले जो होगा आपका constructor call होगा car वाला. So it is printing class car. So basically the output will be class car, and the next constructor, that is public Maruti. So it will print class Maruti, and the last constructor, that is the constructor of this specific lower level class, that is Maruti model 800. So this first three outputs are due to the constructor sequence. Now you are calling with this object vehicle type, since in the multi-level inheritance the vehicle type function was inherited by the Maruti class, and in turn it was inherited by the Maruti 800 class. So vehicle type is car, the function that is called which was there in the class car. Brand, it is also inherited from the class Maruti, and it will print the brand Maruti. Now, in case of object.speed, so there are two speed functions. One is inside the Maruti class and one is inside the Maruti 100. Whenever there are two functions, two methods that are one which is inherited from the super class and one it is the one which is there in the specific class, then the local method will be invoked, and basically local method will override the inherited method. So this property is called method overriding. And if you see at the compile time, it works fine because speed method is there in the object of this class Maruti 100. But at the runtime, it JVM calculates or specifies specifically identify which speed class which speed method to be invoked. So कौन सी speed method invoked होगी at the runtime JVM decides that. So due to this is called runtime polymorphism and it is called method overriding. Unlike method overloading, method overriding happens uh, in inheritance. Inheritance basically both methods are in the separate classes, not in the same class. And unlike method overloading, in method overriding, the signature of the method is same. So जबकि method overloading में हमारा ये था कि the method signature should be different or header should be different. Different means the number of argument or the type of argument should be different. However, in case of method overriding, your method signature or the method header should be same as it is. The definition or the method modi can be different, and the most specific type of method will be invoked first. So here the speed method that is there in this class will be invoked rather than the speed method that is inherited from the Maruti class. So this is the idea of method overloading. Hierarchical inheritance, one class in extending a particular class, and that class is also extended by some other class, and so on. So this is a basic example of that. Multiple inheritance is not supported in Java through classes. So basically, you cannot have a class that inherits from multiple classes or any hybrid structure like the C class is inheriting from the class B, and so assuming this is the D class, actually it is inheriting from the class B and C, and class B and C in turn inheriting from the A class. So diamond type of structure creates a problem. Multiple inheritance is not supported in Java. Two classes, two inheritance it is supported. Or assuming there is a if there were multiple inheritance in Java, so suppose you have a class A and you have defined a method called message and it prints hello, and class B have a method same method message and it prints welcome. If suppose if it is if it is there that C extend A comma B, and with the object of C class you are calling the message function, then now which message method would be invoked, from the B class or the A class? So whenever there is a situation when compiler in case of Java interpreter which method it get confused that which method need to be called. So whenever there is an ambiguity in calling a function, there will be an error. So at the runtime it could not identify कि with कौन सी method मुझे invoke करनी है, one which is coming from the class B or one which is coming from the class A. So it gives you error in C++ also. To avoid this multiple inheritance problem, so this is also called deadly diamond death or diamond problem basically. suppose one method from A class is coming is inherited in the B class, and the same method is inherited in the C class, and from the B and C there is a method inherited in the D class, that particular method. So which path it should be followed? The method, let's say message method, either it should be taken from the B class or the C class. uh, if there is an ambiguity, then there is a problem in object-oriented programming. So in Diamond, we have two classes B and C that derive from the same class, which would be class A in the diagram shown here. And we also have a class D that derives from both B and C using multiple inheritance. And you can see in the figure above that the classes essentially form a shape of diamond, which is why the problem is called diamond problem. And this is not, this problem does not exist in Java, because Java does not support the multiple inheritance. So you cannot do something like this. You cannot write A comma B, or the you cannot inherit from the multiple classes. So see some let's see some example, and we'll see different property of inheritance in Java. So suppose there is a class called vehicle, and we have a run method that prints vehicle is running, and there is a class bike2 that extends vehicle class, and it also have run method, and that prints bike is running safely. And in the main method, you are creating object of bike2 class. So you are creating object of bike2 class on the right hand side, and you're creating a reference of bike2 class the left hand side. So basically reference and the objects both are of the bike class, and you're calling with the reference run method. So obviously what will be printed? Bike is running safely. Now, in the run, so basically runtime इसको runtime polymorphism इसलिए बोलते हैं कि at the compile time compilers only check कि जिसका रेफरेंस क्रिएट किया गया है, रेफरेंस किसका क्रिएट किया गया है? bike2 क्लास का, जिसका रेफरेंस क्रिएट किया गया है उस क्लास में वो रन मेथड है कि नहीं. And at the runtime it decides which method need to be invoked. So इसको इस एग्जांपल समझते हैं. You have a class X. Inside class X you have a method A that prints hello, I am a method of class X. Class Y extends X, and it is also having a method A which prints the hello, I am a method of class Y. Now in class Z, so which is a main class, see the line number 19. In the line number 19 we are creating a reference of X class, and we are assigning that reference to the class of X. Okay. Now in the line number 20 we are creating a reference of X class. However, we are pointing it to the object of Y class. Fine. Now in the line number 29 we are calling method A through object 1. Now in this call, this object and the reference both are from the class A, class X. The method A of class X will be run. So it will print hello, I am a method of class X. However, in the second case, where the reference is of X class and the object of the Y class, when this program is compiled, it is checked कि reference किस class का है, X class का है, और वहां पे method A है कि नहीं, and it is there. So there is no compilation error. However, at the runtime, it was decided that method A of Y should be called, because the object that is pointing out that reference is of class Y. क्योंकि वो क्लास Y का ऑब्जेक्ट है, इसलिए रन टाइम पे वो डिसाइड होता है कि कौन सा मेथड कॉल करना है. So that's why it is called runtime polymorphism. ठीक है, कैन वी मूव अहेड? समझ में आया रन टाइम पॉलीमॉर्फिज्म कंसेप्ट? कंपाइल टाइम पे कंपाइलर सिर्फ चेक करता है कि आपका रेफरेंस जिस क्लास का है उस क्लास में वो मेथड है कि नहीं. हाउएवर एट द रन टाइम इट वाज डिसाइडेड कि कौन सी मेथड रन करनी है अगर वो ऑब्जेक्ट किसी और को रेफर कर रहा हो. क्योंकि अगर यही सेम मैं इसको आपको यहाँ दिखाता हूँ. यहाँ इस एग्जांपल में देखो, वी हैव अ क्लास एनिमल and there is a class dog that extends the animal class, and inside the animal class we have a method move, and inside the class dog we have a method move and bark. So move also inherited from the animal class, but we have overridden inside the dog class, and we have a bark method also. Now in this example, if you see, we at the line number 21 we are creating a reference of animal class and we are assigning it to the object of animal class. So कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, सेम क्लास की हमने ऑब्जेक्ट भी और रेफरेंस भी क्रिएट किया. एंड इफ यू कॉल द मूव फंक्शन, obviously by default the move function or the move method that is defined in the animal class will be called. In line number 2 we are creating a reference of animal class, but we are assigning that reference to dog class. And at the line number 25 we are calling the move method. Since move method दोनों क्लास में है, तो इस लाइन पे भी कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी, क्योंकि at the runtime it would be resolved that move method of dog class will be called, because क्योंकि वो रेफरेंस आपका dog class पे dog object पे. और in line number 26 कंपाइल टाइम पे कंपाइलर एरर देगा. क्यों? क्योंकि आपका रेफरेंस बी टाइप एनिमल टाइप का है और एनिमल क्लास में कोई भी बार्क मेथड नहीं है. एंड कंपाइल टाइम पे रिजॉल्व नहीं होता है कि ऑब्जेक्ट डॉग टाइप के ऑब्जेक्ट को रेफर कर रहा है तो डॉग टाइप का कॉल होना चाहिए, लेकिन कंपाइल टाइम पे वो सिर्फ रेफरेंस को देखता है कि रेफरेंस किस क्लास का है. रेफरेंस आपका एनिमल क्लास का है, so animal class should have the bark method. So before going to the runtime, compile time पे error आती है. So cannot find symbol b dot bark, method bark नहीं. Location variable b of type animal. So b जो था animal type का था, लेकिन method वहाँ पे कोई bark method नहीं है. If you don't have move method, so basically won't give you the error. So basically, even though b is a type of animal, it runs. So in that case, if you're just calling the move method, रन टाइम पे वो आइडेंटिफाई कर लेगा कि वो डॉग क्लास में भी मूव मेथड है आपकी और एनिमल क्लास में मूव मेथड है. So it will resolve that. Okay, so it is pointing to dog object, so it will print it will call the method from the dog class. And in case of first, so it is basically just from the animal class. So here, even though b is a type of animal, it runs the move method in the dog class. रीजन क्या है कि कंपाइल टाइम पे चेक इज मेड ऑन द रेफरेंस टाइप ओनली. However, in the runtime, JVM figure out that object type and would run the method that belongs to the particular object. Hence, in this example, the program will run compile properly since animal class have the method move, and that at the runtime it runs the method specific for that object. So this is the basic idea of method overloading and runtime polymorphism in Java. However, implicitly, you see it is always calling the method of subclass whenever you are having a reference of superclass and you're pointing it to the subclass. It will always call the method of subclass implicitly. However, if you want to call the method of superclass or the parent class, you can use the super keyword. So with the super keyword, you can call the methods from the superclass from which the methods or the properties are inherited. So what we do, we'll study this super keyword in the next lecture. We should, I think, stop here. Yeah, see here, see you're creating a reference of animal and you're pointing out to the dog object, and whenever you're calling the move method, obviously the move method will be called from the dog class. However, in the dog class, in the move method, you are calling the super dot move. So basically you are calling the move method first from the super class, so it will print animal can move, and then dog can walk and run. Using super keyword, you can call the method from the super class. The immediate super class, basically. If you have multiple inheritance, then it calls the immediate super class. You can call the immediate super class methods from the super keyword. So that's it for today's class. हम यहीं स्टॉप करते हैं. सुपर कीवर्ड के बारे में हम नेक्स्ट क्लास में और देखेंगे.